And here we are. Hello. Can I be heard? Hold on. Let me make sure. Am I good? Am I good? We started. We started. We started. It took a little bit. We started though. What's going on, y'all? Hi. I hope you're having a great day. Hope you're having a great week. Hope, today is Thursday. It's we're live right now. Welcome. I have my chat working today. Finally, past few shows I haven't had my chat working. But I have my chat. I can see the chat. And welcome. Today we're going to be talking about, you see the title, we're talking about the next phase of the superhero films. The next phase. I can be heard. Thank you. Great. Welcome to the Venom 2 Million show. Yes. But I hope everybody had a good week. I hope everybody's doing great. And if you aren't doing that well, I hope you know that things will only get better eventually in time. So, as we continue and start, I just want to start off by saying this week I saw The Flash. Did anybody see The Flash? Ain't nobody talked about The Flash. I saw The Flash this week. It's my first time seeing it, and it's funny because The Flash, it just came out on it just came out in theaters like about 2 months ago or something like that. But now, it's streaming. Everything is streaming here. It's here. It's on your device. Your device is the new movie screen. It's the new movie theater, in case you didn't know. It's your device. You're at home. Your TV is a new movie theater. So the movies come out, then they go straight to your TV, which is cool. I don't have a problem with that. I think that's, people is on strike, so... But I hope everybody's doing good. The Flash, I saw The Flash, and ain't nobody been talking about The Flash, and I mean I understand why, because I saw it. And it was good too. The Flash it started off really good. It was like Ezra Miller, Ezra Miller, like he was playing off of himself, and it was good. Like, I dug it. I thought it was sweet to tell an origin story in a different type of way. Like, they told the origin story, but it was like not the origin, but it was the origin, and it was like the beginning of. It was just sweet. I like that. But then, it quickly the film divulged into other stuff. It wasn't about the Flash anymore. They introduced Batman and Supergirl and Zod. And then the film, I understood the point, but it kind of pulled away from like the film for me. Batman and the Zod and Supergirl, it really pulled away from my wanting to know about the Flash. It kind of made me want to just stop watching the film. I was like, what's going on here? But the point of that film was to reboot the whole DC universe, and that's what they're doing with James Gunn. He's in charge. He's now the Kevin Feige of the DCU. Is it DCEU? Is it DCU? They probably announced what it is, but yeah, and is Ezra Miller coming back as the Flash? I don't know. But they said Gal Gadot is coming back as Wonder Woman. And some people like that, some people don't. I think personally, the whole conversation about like the superhero films, and even like the conversation before Infinity War and Endgame came out, the conversation of superhero fatigue was already like taking place. I made a video when I was in school, back when I was in college, and it was before Infinity War and Endgame came out, and I basically gave my prediction of what I thought would happen in the films, and I was talking about that superhero fatigue thing, and I was talking about how after this franchise, once Infinity War is over, then there needs to be something done to like captivate the audience's attention. And for me, it was like what's necessary isn't like a film that isn't a superhero film, because like I don't think the concept, just because it's superheroes, it's necessarily boring. I think it's more so the formula in which they tell the stories. Like Marvel has and it's not even really a formula. It's not that. It's just a vibe, like it's and if you wanna nerdify it, and it's a formula. They have their secret Krabby Patty formula, like. Yeah, they have if you want to make it like that, okay, this formulaic vibe for me is the movies have this vibe. It's this is a superhero movie. They even have a look. It's like, this is a superhero movie. It looks like a superhero movie. And I think that's really the problem. Like I think it's really just the way that it's executed. And I think that's really talking about just the industry in general. The industry, everybody's always talking about, they're keeping it safe. There are no new IPs. All of this same rhetoric, and I'm not saying it's not true, but we've heard it. Yes, no new IPs. Right. Yes, sequels. Right. Yes, superhero movies. Yes. Now what? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, we can complain about it, but like, okay. So I think like James Gunn going from Marvel to DC, and he went to DC first from after he was fired, which is interesting. He was fired because of whatever it was, like tweets. It doesn't really matter, but he went to DC after he was fired, and with him being at DC, he was then rehired at Marvel to do Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which is interesting. He was rehired after he was fired, and it like seemingly, it was in response to the backlash of his firing. Like, how you gonna fire James Gunn? But also seemingly like this is speculation. Like it's speculation. Like seemingly, it came. My mind went to, he went to the competition, and Marvel was like, what? No, that's where my mind went to at first. But if you've been watching my channel, if you're a viewer of Venom 2 Million, then like like I be guessing and speculating. That's what I do. I speculate, and I speculate. I make like a hypothesis. These are educated guesses, I come up with these theories and I theorize. So back when before it was even a conversation about a deal with Marvel and Sony to get Spiderman, and I'll say this. In that Infinity War video, the video that I had when I'm talking about what I think they'll do with Endgame and Infinity War, and then what they'll do afterward a little bit, I mentioned that I think they're going to get the X-Men. They're going to have all of those characters. That's what I said. And you can go check it. It's from years ago. Just go on my channel. Like, you see, I said all that. And I made a video saying, like, why Spider-Man. Back in the Amazing Spider-Man days, like, I was talking about how it was going to be a part of the MCU. And there was a lot of rumors about it being in the MCU. Then it came out like the designer of the Oscorp building, it was trying to place that in the Avengers skyline, but it didn't work out or something like that. And basically, lo and behold, like, there was conversations, and then eventually, Spider-Man ended up in the MCU. Andrew Garfield Spider-Man even in the MCU, which is interesting. Tobey Maguire in the MCU. But like, back then there was this rhetoric, like exactly like what I'm talking about with the whole superhero fatigue, sequels, like all this rhetoric and just narratives. There was the same thing with there'll never be a deal. Spider-Man will never be in the MCU. Marvel will never get their characters back. No. It's all this, whatever. And lo and behold. So here we go. I'm going all the way. We're saying it ahead of the game. I mean, to me, the writing's there. To me, like, it's they're practically hinting and telling us. They're telling us, yo, this is what's gonna happen. Okay, the comics, there's crossovers. It's not even just the superhero movies. There's this whole conversation in the industry about the multiverse. Next, what they'll start saying, oh, the superheroes are living and breathing really amongst us on Earth, and the present tense in reality in real life. That's yeah. But outside of that, like the multiverse is all connected. You know, James Gunn is now in charge of DC, and he came from Marvel, and Marvel was at the height of the height, top of the top, and like now people kind of think like it's shite, and maybe it is shite. I haven't seen all the shows. I mean, I haven't really had time. I haven't really wanted to see all the shows. I've watched Moon Knight. Moon Knight was cool. I watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That was fine. What else did I watch? I haven't finished Secret Invasion. Was watching that. It's okay. Is that all the shows I watched out of it? I'm forgetting something. I know I've watched something else, but it doesn't see like it. I don't know. It's a lot of shows. It's a lot of different things, and it's a lot of stories that, I mean, are memorable to a degree, but is it memorable? Like there's nothing wrong with any of the secondary heroes, and I shouldn't even use the word secondary heroes, but when I use the word secondary, when I say that, I'm talking about like at one point, I guess, Iron Man was a secondary hero, but now he's not. But like I'm talking about the heroes that aren't She-Hulk, okay? I'm talking like characters like She-Hulk, characters like Miss Marvel, characters, the Captain America, yeah, like characters that aren't necessarily the on the level of Superman and Batman. So this conversation of superhero fatigue and all that, like I don't subscribe to that. I really subscribe to the concept of just making entertaining media. And I think what would be the most entertaining, yeah, you could do do exactly what Marvel did and do it with DC, and gods, whatever the whole phases they done laid out. Yeah, Superman. Ooh, now I guess next is Blue Beetle, Superman, and we're gonna do Batman, do all those movies again, and it's all gonna connect, and it's gonna be like the MCU, but it's DC, and that's cool. I watched recently. It's a fan edit called Man of Tomorrow, and it's a fan edit of Man of Steel and Batman v Superman combined. Okay, if you haven't heard about it, I suggest you check it out. And that film, that fan edit, it was Superman. It was Man of Steel, so Superman's origin. But then it introduced Bruce Wayne, and introduced Wonder Woman, and introduced Lex Luthor, and introduced Doomsday, and it had the whole, like, it went through all of it, and it was cool, but like the entertainment aspect of the films, and perhaps it was because that previous Zack Snyder franchise, it wasn't the most light-hearted, and it's not necessarily, for me, a point that it needs to be lighthearted for me to enjoy it, but the films had a little bit of a weight to it, and I'm talking about like a pounds, like heaviness to it, and that weight, that weight wasn't just the tone, though. It was like, it's cool to have all of these characters together. It's sweet. And no, we haven't seen it before, but have we? Yes, we can tell amazing stories. Yes, we can tell stories that are outside of things that we've seen before, and that will grab the audience's attention. But I think that it's a larger thing. I think it's something else at play. I don't think it's like just we're gonna do DC. We're DCEU. I don't think so. I think the thing that is going to take place is that multiversal collision like James Gunn from Marvel. And it's not just because James Gunn is there, but I think that is a big part of it. Every single Marvel film has Kevin Feige in the credits, which is interesting. Before there was a Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige was a part of it, and it's not to say Kevin Feige is Marvel Studios or anything like that, but I do want to just point out the fact that Kevin Feige was present, So if all the future DC films they take place and James Gunn is present, and James Gunn has a connection to Marvel, and I believe there was a question asked to him about is a crossover, in the cards? Is that possible? And I believe the answer was, never say never or something like that, which is, but if Kevin Feige was the connector to all of the films, my thinking is that's kind of going to be the role of James Gunn, outside of just him connecting all of the films, but like him understanding the tone of Marvel. He's kind of credited as, in some ways, like creating that comedic tone for Marvel. After his Guardians of the Galaxy film, some people say that, the Marvel Cinematic Universe kind of followed that comedic tone. But if he's the individual that sometimes is credited as the person that created that tone for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and he's now at DC, and he still did a job at Marvel, and he still talks to Kevin Feige, and all, like, I don't think like the safe space is where they're gonna take it. I don't think James Gunn is just gonna do what he did at Marvel at DC. I don't think so. I think they're going to shock audiences and bring in the DC and Marvel characters together. And maybe it is, a standalone film in which they all meet up, or maybe it's the new DC and Marvel connected multiverse, cinematic multiverse, because the concept of superhero fatigue and all that's like, it's conversations. Joker, you get people like the Joker film. Some people don't. Joker 2 is coming out. That's cool. DC is doing its thing where it has like its own branches. Like it'll have films that aren't connected but are connected and do. So like, I think the point is, for just like how No Way Home, Spider-Man No Way Home kind of served as like a advertisement, an advertisement for the previous Spider-Man films. It acted in that way where like people that saw that movie, like people of the younger generation, they saw No Way Home and they're like, oh, that's the other Spider-Man. So now they have the feeling, the want to go watch the other Spider-Man films, because now the concept that the other Spider-Man films are actually connected to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, connected to the latest Spider-Man film, like this is relevant. Oh my gosh, wow. So like, I think that is the route that DC and Marvel will go, because they're both companies. Companies do deals all the time. He said, Stuart, it's impossible until it's not. The companies do deals all the time, like all the time. So like, why wouldn't that deal take place? Why not? Like, for real, why wouldn't it take place? In the comics, we've had multiversal crossovers. So why wouldn't there be a multiversal crossover in the films? That would literally get everyone's attention, have everyone excited. Spider-Man and Batman, Spider-Man and Superman, like, that would be sweet. I'm not saying that they don't have to do that to get people's attention. Like I just said, a good story is a good story, and if they make a good story, people gonna like it. But I think that there's a potential of something else taking place, and maybe it's not out the gate. You know, maybe it's not like the new Superman movie at the end. There's a multiversal thing, and you know, as Flash comes and the superheroes, something's going on, and then, you know, maybe Doctor Strange or something, like, you know, maybe they do go that route. But I think maybe they do go the route of it's in the new Superman movie, you know, at the end, post credit. But I think that, like, if we look at how films are advertised, if we look at how how things in general are advertised, I'm not saying that everything is always spoiled, or like stories we go into the movie knowing the whole movie before we see it, but like the to advertise DC and Marvel like in a actual motion picture, like a film, like that's got everybody's attention. And then to advertise like that film with like you could the characters fighting each other and then them having to team up, like that's going to get people's attention. So I would think that like within the DCEU, whatever it's called, MCU, whatever, like there's going to be, perhaps maybe with the MCU with Kang the Conqueror, like after, there's going to be an event where the characters all meet up. And I think that is what the new phase is leading to. The new phase of like the next phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the next phase, the new phase of DCEU. I think they're leading to the characters all meeting up. All of them meeting up. That's what I think. And you know, and I do want to, I last week I had a caller call in, and I did not know, but you left me a voicemail, and I just wanted to appreciate you. I'm going to actually showcase your voicemail, not during the stream. I'm going to make a separate little short, and I'm going to put it on my channel and put it on my social media, because I really appreciate y'all watching. I really appreciate y'all spending time with me, listening to me talk about the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the DC Cinematic Universe. Like, what is it? The DCEU. And I appreciate y'all watching. And you all, please, if you want to call in, you can call in at 657-233-1351. Let's turn on the phone line right now, because I would love to hear what y'all got to say. Like, for real here. I'm going to turn on the phone line. The phone line is not on yet. So you can, if you're calling right now, you're not going to get through until I turn it on. So I got to turn it on, and then you can call on in, and then yeah, we can get it popping. Okay, so now I'm receiving calls. So, all right, so y'all can call in and we can talk. You can tell me what you think about this. Again, that number is 657-233-1351. 657-233-1351. Yes, and you can call in and talk to me about what you think about the DCEU and the MCU colliding. Because, I mean, you know, and I don't necessarily know the story that they could tell. I didn't think that far ahead. I just see that is where they're going, or at least that's potentially where they could go. You know, maybe they don't do that. You know, and it's okay if they don't do that. But I don't think so. I think that's what they're going to do. At least I would do that if I was in charge. Like, I would say, okay, well, what we're going to 100% do is bring them all together. We're going to make money. Have a deal with DC as Marvel, or Marvel a deal with whatever. They do a deal and they make the money, okay? And if they, perhaps they're talking the ticket sales are a problem. Then do they just cut it off to streaming? Streaming on what, though? Then is it on HBO only, or is it on Disney Plus? You know? Maybe what I'm saying isn't even like it's dealing with all of the companies that are like being sold and bought. So like Disney, there's conversations of Disney potentially being sold. So to who? I don't know, Apple or whomever. So maybe that's a part of that conversation too. Disney is sold or something, and Warner Brothers buys it. Is that I mean, is that a monopoly? Warner Brothers buying Disney? That might be a monopoly. People, I mean, if Microsoft purchasing Activision, and some people consider that to be a monopoly, then I would think Disney purchasing or being purchased by Warner Brothers, or Disney purchasing Warner Brothers, that would be a monopoly. So, uh, yeah, but I don't think that would really stop them from making a deal to have these characters appear cinematically together. I think that would really boost the sales of the tickets or the streams. That's so weird, of the streams, uh, and I think that would really kind of not reinvigorate the superhero genre, because it kind of then becomes, okay, upping the ante each time. All right, we got to get bigger. We got to go bigger. We got to go bigger. And I don't think necessarily that's because where do they go next? What's the next step? Is next? What's the next step? I don't know, but I do see that is potentially a place to take the franchise, a place to take the superhero genre. And I think that would really captivate audiences. I think that would get people's attention. I think that would get people on board. Yeah, perhaps people don't need to be on board that are off board, right? Perhaps they lost their interest because a saturation of content, and maybe this is more oversaturation of content, but I don't think so. I think I honestly don't think that the problem with the superhero films and shows is that it's a whole bunch of them either. I think that the problem is the characters. Some individuals aren't aware of the characters, and then all of the other conversations that come with it, whether people want to talk about agendas or talk about race swapping, all those other things come into play as well. But the main thing I'm really, really paying attention to is if people were to see characters that they recognize on the screen together, like, people will enjoy that. My favorite part about, so far, I've seen Secret Invasion, and my favorite part about Secret Invasion so far was, like, it was a conversation between Nick Fury and Rhodey, and they were sitting at a table just talking. And, like, I love that. Like, in the comics, I love when those characters will be talking, and, like, they be having, like, that human dialogue, and, like, they're going back and forth, and, I like that. In Infinity or Endgame, I loved when, and it was a quick scene, but when Tony Stark came back into the Avengers headquarters and Captain America was there, and he and Captain America, they had their back and forth, or Tony Stark and the entire Avengers, pretty much, they had their back and forth, and that was so dope. Like, it was like just these are larger than life characters, and they're conversing with one another, and like the way that the relationships are portrayed is that they're normal people, and they have relationships, and they're cool or not cool, or they get upset, or I really like that part of, like, the superheroes all being together, like really getting to see their personalities bounce off of one another. So for me, it would be really interesting to have that Superman, Spiderman, and again, like, the first thing that needs to take place probably within the universes is for to have Superman and Batman know each other first, to have screen time with all the DC characters, with the new DC heroes, all of them together, and all of them, conversing and all that. Like, maybe that is the right first step. But then I think taking it to that next level of having that crossover, I think that's what really is going to captivate audiences, captivate the attention of the people, captivate all, and along with, they can simply just make a good movie. I think if you simply make a good movie, like, you're going to have the audience's attention anyway. But on top of that, I guess the gimmick of this Marvel and DC connected multiverse, or what is it? The Marvel and DC connected cinematic multiverse. Like, having that, I think that gimmick would really entice audiences and really drive people into it. Yeah, the Flash movie, it was and I wanted to, because it's not necessarily, because the Flash movie, the problem wasn't just that it was other characters in it. The problem wasn't that, Batman was there and Supergirl was there. For me, the problem was just the execution of it, the execution of having these other characters there, and the story kind of moving away from Flash and moving on to Batman and Supergirl and Zod, like it really not being about Flash. But it was about like his concept of not letting go of the past, and him feeling like he needs to correct the past, and he has to fix things, and things aren't right, and that obsession of not accepting what is, and taking what is as how it should be, and I understood all that, but like from the audience, I'm watching and I'm like, okay, like the movie started off sweet. I was really loving like Flash's personality. I was loving like them going back and forth. But it wasn't about the Flash anymore. And I think one of the things that would have to take place within that Marvel DC crossover concept is like the story probably should be about that. It shouldn't be about like and maybe, I mean, in Infinity War, Endgame went through the whole MCU. Like they treaded through it all. So is that what you do? You have a DC Marvel movie that's connected, and like they go through an alternate reality of the Marvel universe, but it's DC characters, and then do the vice versa. Maybe that's what you do, and that could be cool. But I think, like, for me with the Flash, the whole issue of like him trying to get back to where he needs to get to. I'm not going to spoil the film. I mean, if people may be like, I don't care, I'm watching that. But like the whole concept and conflict of him trying to get back to where he needs to get to, like for me, that kind of got lost. It got lost in like him protecting people, and him. It just the whole narrative. It kind of got lost. So the narrative would have to be, I think, literally about like, who are these people? What is going on? Like, for real. And as the audience, we should be along for that journey of, whoa, like, what is going on? Maybe even have it where Batman or like is aware of these characters, but they're not. He's aware of them in a different sense. They're in their universe. Maybe not the comic book characters. Maybe not the or maybe they are comic book characters. Maybe they're cinematic film characters. I don't know. But having Batman like really be aware of maybe that's a way. But what I'm saying is, though, it can't be bogged down by the fact that there are all these characters in this film, and the film can't be like if the movie is Superman, okay? If a film is Superman and we're watching Superman, it should first be entertaining, and then it should like everything else should revolve around Superman, and the story should be entertaining, and we should feel like this is Superman, Okay. If Superman has a whole bunch of other characters, it should be everything I just said, and then a whole bunch of other characters with it. Like, that's great. Um, Doing like a film with them combined, perhaps it wouldn't be a Superman film. Perhaps that would be a Marvel DC film. Maybe that would be the name of it. Marvel X DC. I don't know. Like if they do Batman v Superman, Marvel X DC, X Twitter, But maybe, and that is the film. That is what the film is about. That is, and it doesn't have to be one film. Of course, I'm saying it would be a multiverse. There would be a new cinematic multiverse. So perhaps over the course of several films, the story is these characters have all collided, and they're trying to figure out how did this happen? How do they get back? Who's who. Some characters may look different, but I think having a film and a franchise about that is entertaining and unexpected from the audience's perspective. And I honestly think that's where they're gonna go. Cause why not? Why not? Shoot, get the deal going. James Gunn is already over there. Get the deal going. And there it is. Come on, man. Shoot. And maybe it's a logistical nightmare. How are they gonna? Oh, it's all that paperwork. And I don't know. But I do think I think it's gonna happen. I do think it's gonna happen. Because I feel like that's the natural progression. I don't think they're gonna just continue to do Marvel and DC the way that they've been doing. I think the natural progression is having them all collide, having them come together and then figure it out. Like, how's we all together? What is this? We gotta get back. And perhaps some of the heroes, like it becoming a conflict with the heroes, and us really getting to see that. Exactly what I was just talking about with the thing that I really enjoyed from the Marvel films. And even in the Flash, I enjoyed like seeing the characters speak with one another. I enjoyed really seeing how their relationships all formed and grew. It's just, to me, it's not that it didn't serve the story. It's just, to me, it became a distraction from the story. I didn't remember what is going on. Like, is Batman and then they fighting Zod and Supergirl, and like he went back and Zod, but like you got your own thing going on. Like, I get you gotta fight Zod because you want to save the planet, you want to save the world, and you want to save the world. But like ultimately, like and what he found out was that I'm not gonna spoil it, but to me it was just a distraction. Like I didn't. Zod and all, like, the distraction. Have the characters, have them all, have it, the fact that they're all together be the story, not Flash is in this different place and now this event is happening that doesn't really have anything to do with him, but it does because it didn't, because it was going to happen anyway. Like Zod was going to come anyway, but it just so happened he was there. So now because he's a hero, he feels like he has to help. But it's like, I get it, but that's a distract. Like the story that's not what it was about. And that is what it was about. It was about him helping, him feeling as if he has to correct things. He has to fix things that aren't working, things that aren't right. He's the one that can fix it. He has the power and he's going to do it because that's his responsibility. But like, going with it deeper, it's I don't feel like audiences really jived with that. I don't feel like that was it was apparent. You did feel that. You did get that from the film, but like it wasn't the most simplest thing to get. It wasn't the easiest thing to get. It wasn't It just bogged down the movie, man. It just bogged down the film. It's like, man, if you could really have the Flash concept. This is the first Flash film, and And I was excited for this idea of a Flash movie. Okay, not that much, but a little bit, like a little bit. You know, I would make jokes growing up. Oh, Flash movie, they're gonna just have him run around. You know, it's gonna be a movie where he racing the whole time. And you know, but like the movie started off really centering on the Flash, who is Barry Allen, and us getting to see that, and then really getting to see who he is from a whole nother perspective. And then it just all of a sudden went to General Zod, and it's like, okay, Supergirl, okay, you know, and that didn't have the oomph that it needed, but it's rebooting everything. So like with that reboot, the oomph should be present, the oomph that's needed should be there. And that means that the films do not need to have, it shouldn't be like Brainiac is coming, and then the other heroes come in, and the other heroes help the other heroes fight Brainiac, and that's it. Like, no. The conflict should be that the other heroes are here. The conflict within Flash should have been, I mean, not should have. I'm not really trying to critique the film. I think that like Flash was cool. I really, the concept was dope. It was really dope. I really felt like it, especially the beginning, like they was with it. It's just the focus shifted away from Flash and onto like just. It shifted onto his ideals, but it wasn't as apparent. It was more like not the backdrop, but the backdrop. And what became apparent was Batman and Supergirl. And like, that's it. And Zod. And like, that's it though. It wasn't, it was like, we have to fight them. Like, that's what it was about. But that's not what the movie was about. That's not what the point of it is. You gotta fight Zod. You gotta fight what? No, the film should be. He needs to get home, like, and he does need to get home. And you know the concept of in order for him to get home, he has to help that universe, and yeah, but he didn't, and that was apparent in the film. So what I'm like with this, if you're gonna have the event where they're all meeting, it can't be like that. Has to be the point. It has to be the point that they're meeting. That was a burp. It has to be a point that they're meeting. It can't be like everybody's doing their own thing and then they're just, oh, the other heroes are here. No. It has to be the other heroes are here. That is the problem. Like Batman and Batman v Superman, Batman was like, yo, this alien he didn't kill thousands of people. We gonna wait till there's millions? No, I'm gonna take care of it right now. Like, it should be that same concept of these people, what is going on? Okay, I need to take care of this right now. Like the Justice League, we need to meet. What's going on? The Avengers, where are we? Or maybe I don't know. But that needs to be the conflict. That needs to be the point of the film. The multiversal collision. You know, how does Joker respond to Carnage? You know, like that should be the point of the films. It shouldn't be like just Spider-Man and Batman next to each other just to be next to each other, and it should be that because that's sweet. But I'm saying that should be the story. The story should be they're next to each other. Why? What does that mean? How do they react to that? What is, you know, like that's more entertaining and more interesting to me as an audience member than just seeing, oh, they're going against Brainiac. Oh, it's Lex Luthor. Ooh, like, okay. That's great. Like, and it's great. You have an excellent cast. You have excellent actors, and they act their patootie off, and the writing is superb. So then you got a great film. That's excellent. But imagine exactly what I just said, all of that, but with the extra characters with Marvel there, with Marvel and DC there. Now Marvel and DC with the extra cast, with the amazing cast, the amazing actors, the superb writing. That is sweet. That's what I want ultimately. That's ultimately what I want. He said, let me read the comments real quick. So Stewart said, a simple story with complex characters is greater than the other way around. A simple story with complex characters is greater than, yeah. Like, I think the idea of what they be doing with Thor and all the, like, the fish out of water, how does he respond? Like that, but kick it up a whole notch, a whole bunch of notches. It's a whole bunch of fishies out of water, It's a whole bunch of fishes out of water, and they flopping on the deck. They flopping on the deck, trying to get, Okay, I'm gonna read more of the comments. He said the movie completely doesn't understand Flash and many levels. Yeah, well, I don't really have an opinion on whether or not the film understood Flash, but because I feel like the film was 100, it was talking about like, and maybe that's not a Flash concept, but it was maybe it's just a human concept. It was more so speaking on the need to fix the past, the need to feel as if the past is broken, or you did something, or individuals in general did something wrong in the past, and they're wounded by the past, wounded by the trauma, and they can't move forward. That's kind of what the film was about. And from Flash's story with him trying to help his father get out of prison, like that ultimately is kind of what the Flash is about. So I'm not going to say they didn't understand the Flash, but I will say, like, as an audience member, like I was kind of tired of it. I was kind of checked out because it wasn't about the Flash. Like, it shifted away from the Flash. It shifted to Superman or Supergirl, Zod, and Batman, and like that's what it was. It was about him fighting Zod, which is weird. Like I get it. Flash. I mean, I used to make jokes. Flash is weak. He not weak. He's sweet, but like and it was more to it than, because it was more than just Zod. Like there's other characters, but and that other character ultimately goes into what I'm talking about, the point of like feeling as if you have to correct the past, and feeling as if you've made wrongs in the past, and those wrongs are wrong, like and that's what the film was about. But it just was bogged down by Supergirl, Batman, and it just, I ain't like that. I think they, if you're going to have a film, a multiversal film, and you have DC and Marvel together, it has to be about that. If the Flash movie was literally about like him, because it was about, he was looking for Batman, he was looking for Superman, like, but he was looking for them, so he was looking for them, not in his benefit. It was in his benefit, but he was looking for them ultimately to fight Zod, which is like the Flash fight Zod, and ultimately like that wasn't because it was the other side of like what's happening behind the scenes. How it even came into play, how everything even started, that doubt, that I messed up, I have to fix the past, and that's what started everything. If you've seen the film, you know what I'm talking about. Like that's literally the point. That's the theme of the movie. Like he feels as if he has to correct the past, and because his trauma from his past is what is pushing him and propelling him forward, and he can't move forward because of the past and the trauma. So doing a Flash movie and it having multiple characters in it and it being about the Flash, it should be about the Flash with the other characters in it. The other characters should be helping the Flash or helping the main character or whatever get done whatever he needs to get done. Not fight a baddie, and maybe I said baddie, and not fight a bad guy. and maybe it does lead to them fighting a bad guy, but I don't. For the problem with the Flash was like it just shifted to, oh, we got to fight the bad guy, like, oh, I got to, and that's not what the movie's about. If you're gonna do the DC Marvel combined, it can't be just, oh, Brainiac, oh, this larger than life threat, this threat that even Superman can't face. All of us, we can't beat them by ourselves. And all of a sudden, all of the Marvel Universe appears. Like, you can't really do that. And then, oh, now we're saved and, oh, let's come together and fight. No, I don't think you do that. I think it's more so like you have the superheroes living their, DC superheroes living their life, and then the event takes place where the Marvel heroes appear there, and it's a reaction to that, and there's a consequence to that, and that strings in a whole bunch of events, that perhaps leads to a bad guy. I don't know, but I just think that the potential is there. And it kind of excites me thinking about that. It kind of excites me thinking, like, if we're in this place right now where people are tired of superhero films, people superhero fatigue, like, I'm not the person in the suit drawing up the contracts, talking to the people, having the meetings, having the board meetings. I'm not that. But I had this idea. So, like, we can assume, I can assume, you don't have to be a part of my assumption. You know what they say about assuming. That I can assume that, like, those conversations have taken place. Especially if Kevin Feige is working with James Gunn, and James Gunn is now in charge of the DC EU. Those conversations are 100% taking place. I would assume, again, speculating, guessing, that paperwork is already being drafted up. Like, that's already been planned out. That's what I would assume. Maybe it's not the first phase of DC. Maybe they come out, because he said it was the first phase, Gods Among Us or something like that, right? I don't know. Whatever the first phase is, you guys, if you could tell me in the chat, I'll look it up too. But, like, whatever that first phase is, maybe that has to take place. They do the first phase and boom, boom. But then after that, I think they're going to have that amalgamation. Like, I really do. I think they're going to have it. And I think that would be the point. It wouldn't be them coming together to fight somebody. It would be them coming together to fight, to react off of one another, and then ultimately, like, them trying to figure out how to get back to where they, like, how things were before, whether or not they do or don't. Like, I think that's a very interesting story. Is it necessary? No, but like I said, if there's all this conversation, superhero fatigue and all that, like, the natural progression is having these real multiverse films. That's a multiverse film, not just a multiverse film in the same franchise, but a multiverse film that spans universes. Like, for real, it's not just this Spider-Man is from the other Spider-Man franchise. Like, no. This is an actual different universe, and these universes have collided. And I think that's what's going on. I think that's where they're going. the all of the stories that are being told within the films, within even the comic books, um, to me they mirror like our society to a degree. Like they mirror and perhaps you could, I mean, some people would argue they are programming our society, the films and the media. But another perspective is that like it's mirroring, uh, it's reflecting our society, and like the whole conversation of the multiverse like is taking place amongst like a whole bunch of different films, a whole bunch of, it's just this multiverse thing, and it's taking place within the DC films and the Marvel films individually, independently. Um, so like I believe eventually the audience is going to be requesting exactly what I'm saying, because and I come to the conclusion that that is not like it is Marvel's point when they first introduced the multiverse, um, and I put air quotes around that because did they introduce the multiverse? Is the multiverse a Marvel concept or a DC concept or a comic book concept, or is the multiverse uh, something outside of that? Is it something that is relates to us as real life individuals outside of films and all that? But going back to the concept of the films, if they did, introduce this concept, my thinking isn't that they introduced it. They did not introduce it with the thought process of eventually having all of the characters come together. But I would say that within that board meeting, within the room and all that, the conversations of the multiverse absolutely, like within that room, led to conversations of like, oh, and then the multiverse, you got the other characters and DC doing whatever. Not saying that, because within our society, individuals or some people view corporations and all of these different companies as competitors, as individuals who are competing for the attention of the audience, competing for the wallets or money of the audience, and all that. But at that same time, like I view these corporations and even this, I view it like not necessarily as them competing. They all running their own race, and through that, I feel as if collaboration is what is like what makes the world go round, kind of. You know what I'm saying? So within these corporations and companies, they understand that collaboration is what, if there's superhero fatigue taking place, then the superhero companies gonna work together to work through that. You know what I'm saying? Like collaboration. So of course, in the beginning, when there was conversations of the multiverse and all that, the thinking was there that there's going to be, perhaps in the future, a crossover event that takes place, because it's the concept of the multiverse. But you don't have to, as individuals who are creating those plans for Marvel Phase 1, 2, 3, 4, because they're talking about a concept like the multiverse, they don't have to beat it over the head of the consumer that the DC characters can show up, because it's already set up within the idea or the concept of the multiverse. It's already present. It's already been talked about. We learned about it. They go through it in multiple films, not just in Marvel, but like they go through it over in multiverse, everything, everywhere, all at once. So like it's already within our minds, this concept. So it's not that difficult for them to really introduce it, for them to really make it happen, to really do it. You know what I'm saying? And so like I just think that's if I'm in control of the if I'm in control of the DCEU or Marvel, like I'm on the phone. Like I'm hey, how we do this, and then we figure out the profit splits, all that. But like how we do this, because it would make the the experience excellent. You know what I'm saying? It would make the experience excelente. and yeah. Oh snap! So I somebody had called. I did not see your call. Why does this happen every week? Why is supposed to, it's like I'm supposed to get a flash and all that. It lets me know you're calling. But it didn't I don't know. It did not I did not see you call. Dang. Hey, I appreciate you for trying to call area code 386. Call back. Call back. Let me see. Why are you doing that? We figuring it out. We live with it. Okay. Oh, somebody calling. There we go. Here we gonna answer. Whoop. Hello. You're live on the Venom 2 Million show. Who's this?
What's up, man? This is Stuart.
Hello. Who is this?
This is Stuart.
This is Stuart. What's going on, Stuart, man? Nice to hear your voice, man. Welcome to the Venom 2 Billion show. How you doing, man?
Doing all right.
Hey, that's good. So, what you think right now about the concept that I've been talking about for this past hour? What do you think about the potential of a Marvel DC connected cinematic multiverse?
All right. So, I mean, it could work, obviously, but I mean, as someone who didn't really like No Way Home and The Flash, I feel like those are examples of how not to do it. Mm-hmm. So, like, I kind of already said this in the chat a little bit, but really should just focus on, if you were to do it, like you said, the story should be about them being together and not, rambling about other stuff. Focus on character interactions and the emotions, because that's really like the backbone of the storytelling to me. I feel like anything else is sort of just wish-wash,
Yeah, I agree fully. You said you didn't like No Way Home?
Yeah, I felt like whenever they did get introduced, the other Spider-Man, it was just kind of like, okay, they're here, and then there's like a scene or two where they talk together, but really the other Spider-Man could have not been in the movie, and nothing would have changed about, the plot or much about Tom's arc. I feel like, Mary Jane or Ned could have gave him that little talk that they do on the roof, and he would have been all right.
Hey, I agree with you. I agree. Actually, I felt the same way when I watched the film. Did the movie come out last year?
I think so. Yeah,
okay. So I watched it late. Like I watched it, like I want to say at least 6 months after it came out. And I had a few spoilers, but I mean I kind of knew it was gonna happen anyway. But one thing that I did not have spoiled was how the Spider-Men would be introduced. And I actually was very surprised with how they were introduced too. It felt like they just popped up.
Exactly.
They just popped up, and then like how they kind of went away too. They just went away. Like it was like, wait a minute.
Exactly.
like what's going on with that? So, yeah, I 100% agree with you. Do you think that would the audience rather have a Marvel film that like showcases, all the Spider people, all of the X-Men, all of the would audiences rather have something like that, or would they rather have something like what I'm talking about now, in your opinion?
I'm sorry, reword it for me.
Okay.
Have just all of the Marvel together?
Yeah, like how I guess like how Deadpool. There's a rumor with the new Deadpool film that they're going to introduce or reintroduce the Fox Fantastic Four. There's a rumor that they're going to reintroduce the like X-Men characters, Halle Berry, and Famke, all of the individuals from the previous franchises. Do you think audiences will respond, or do you think audiences want that, to have a Marvel film with all of the Marvel characters?
I think it sounds cool. It sounds like this big idea, this big grand scheme that, people are going to rush out to see, but I don't think it's ever going to really land in the way the audiences want to. Like, I think it'll grab their attention, but I don't think it's going to have any real emotional impact that'll, be able to get the reception you really want out of a movie. I feel like something as big as that, you got to narrow it down to having a protagonist who is, the driving factor. But with these movies, they just haven't really been doing that. They have Peter, they have Flash. Like you said, in the Flash at the beginning, it's sort of about him. And then once these other characters come in, it's all about the big plot that's going on around him instead of being about, centering on the protagonist's arc or theme or, could work. I just don't see it working out that way with the approach they've been taking. But yeah.
Did you said you did see The Flash?
I didn't.
You didn't? Oh wow! Why didn't you see The Flash?
I was gonna watch it, but the last day I went to go see it, and I watched something before it, and they were like, "All right, that was our last show. You can't watch it now."
Wait, you went to the movies? Crazy. They said, "Oh no, we ain't showing that no more."
Yeah, they showed it one time that day, and then it was
gone. Oh no, that's crazy. And because that movie, it came out like 2 months ago, didn't it? Something like that. Yeah, and that movie is gone. And it's so interesting because that film, there was a lot of talk about. They've been working on that movie for a very long time.
Like, I called into your old show and we were talking about The Flash.
Yeah. Wait, I remember. Wait, you called into when I was on Urban Nation Radio?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, snap. First of all, for those that don't know what I'm talking about, I had a radio show back when I was in high school. I'm graduated from college. I had a radio show when I was in high school, and that was in 2000 and before 2015. And that was when there was conversations of The Flash. That was when, I believe, when did Batman v Superman come out? 16. Yep. Okay, yeah. So I remember there were conversations of The Flash then, and dang, that movie, that's crazy. You still haven't. You're not even interested in seeing it. Are you even interested in seeing The Flash?
Oh, I was gonna watch it. I get free. I work at the movie theater, so I get free tickets. But I wouldn't have paid to watch it, probably. No.
That's funny. Well, hey man, The Flash. I mean, you ain't missed nothing. I mean, the first like 30 minutes is really good. Like, and I'm saying that, and I probably shouldn't even say that, because like if you do watch it, like you shouldn't raise your expectations at all, because that's what made it really good for me. Like I had no expectations, and I'm watching it, and I'm just being shocked. Like, wait a minute, why aren't people talking about this movie? Because this is good. But then, like, when I kept watching, I was like, oh, that's why people aren't talking about this movie. Oh, okay, all right. Did you see the Across the Spiderverse films?
Yes, I did.
Did you like those?
Yes, and I feel like that is, the clear difference between telling a character-driven story versus telling, this big concept plot of, crossover. We got this person. Don't you want to see it? So, like, it's a very hollow product that you're trying to sell versus a full story.
Mm-hmm. So for you, would you rather see a new DC universe that's not made the same way as Marvel, but I guess made not in that same formula, but a good DC universe with just the DC universe? Would you be open to seeing that? Like, I guess now we had Marvel, so now it's DC's turn. Would you be open to like the next 10 years of DC?
I looked at the slate or whatever James Gunn put out, and I like the concept of it. It seems like they're going in the right direction. It seems like Superman's supposed to be sort of the protagonist of it, but not like Snyder's, not in that way. But I think it'll work out. I think I'm excited for it. I like DC characters. I like superheroes in general, but DC just got a rough history. I'll have to see it to believe it, to be honest. But I look forward to it.
Do you have faith in James Gunn?
I do. I mean, I think he's got a decent eye for storytelling in general, character writing, especially long-term development. I think that was the best part of the Guardians movies, how they developed over time together.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing a dynamic like that play out with the Justice League as a whole, with Superman and Batman made the first two movies, and they're kind of like these. They're closer to like comic versions or not some alternate version. I think seeing that what's it called, world's finest type of dynamic play out, and then seeing more characters come in and different character types bounce off each other, that can be very cool.
What do you think about James Gunn saying with the DC, his universe, it's also going to include video games and TV shows? Did he say, I don't know if he said comic books as well, but I know he said video games and TV shows.
Yeah, I think that's like a genius idea. That's where Marvel has been missing the mark all these years, really, especially with them being completely integrated, the same voice actors and actors that get across animation and games and all that. And I think they got to keep a hierarchy to it for sure. I think they should not be putting key plot points in a video game, because not everybody plays video games. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I think that is very cool. I love ARG type of stuff. I think that would be very cool for a superhero movie to do, or some type of large marketing idea through multiple forms of media. Things like that is really cool to me. I'm very excited about that.
So James Gunn, he used an example when talking about the video game concept and the connection of the stories. And the example he said or gave was if they're going to have a Superman story, it wouldn't be a Superman video game. It would be something like a Crypto, the Superdog video game. Now, what do you think about something like that? Because to me, like, does this mean now, if it's all like we're not gonna have a Superman video game, like we're not gonna have the tadpole characters, they're not going to get games? What do you think about that?
Okay, I think that's similar to what I just said, but to the extreme, to be honest. Like, I think you can have the big characters, be featured in these things. I think it's odd to say you don't want to do that, to be honest. But I agree with the sentiment of, we're not going to sort of quarantine off large characters and these large plots to things that are less mainstream, I guess, is the idea. Maybe that's sort of what he's saying. I mean, to not have a Superman game, I feel like Superman game can do big numbers, probably be pretty good. Was there any other explanation he gave behind that?
Here, I'm gonna pull up the exact quote. Because what he was talking about here. I'm gonna type James Gunn on video games here, and I'll make it so that the you all can see me type it in as well. Okay, here we go. So James Gunn on video games in DC. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. And we're going to find the article. Here it goes. So James Gunn confirms how DC video games will fit into the film and TV slate. So he's, continue with ads. Continue with, I do not have an ad blocker. That is not. All right. So DC studio head James Gunn has elaborated a bit more on how video games will fit into its new cinematic universe. Superhero genre. Okay, it was a tweet. Oh, no, it wasn't a tweet. Oh, wow. Okay, let's just keep reading. Okay. Superhero games have dramatically evolved over the last 20 years or so. In the early 2000s, Okay, yep. Where's the quote? However, James Gunn recently confirmed that he plans to weave new video games in with upcoming TV shows and movies that DC is making. The plan is much more ambitious than movie tie-ins, though. Instead, he has noted that they will make new stories within games that can bridge the gaps between the films. Okay, let's go. So I just clicked on that link. All right, here we go. Now here's his quote. Okay, so it says, so it's like we are seeing a 2000 style return to movie to game adaptations. Instead, according to Gunn and Safran, that's the DC co-CEO. Okay, video games will be used the same way that comic books have been recently, to tell theoretically canonical stories that take place in the space between what you see on screen. This is his quote. He says, what's very different about it for us, for DC, is it's not like we're going to have Superman come out and then have the Superman game come out. It's more like we have the Superman come out and then 2 years later we have Supergirl coming out. So what's the story in between there? Is there a crypto game that we can play that comes in between that's still set in the world with these characters, but that it's its own thing? The idea is to give the sort of premise or prominence to games that deserve. He said the idea is to give the sort of prominence to games that they deserve. Yeah, and it's a real just emphasis on storytelling and the universe as opposed to the individual movies or television shows. So he said you got a Superman, Supergirl, and in between that, maybe we can do crypto. What you think about that?
Okay, now I'm hearing the full thing. It sounds a little bit more ideal, I guess, because that's been going on recently with comics. Whenever there's a Marvel movie, or I know the Batman did it, there were like prequel comics showing like the Riddler's previous killings and stuff like that, and how it builds up to the actual movie's plot. I think something like that will work fine, especially with games. Maybe crypto was an odd example to give. I'm sure they could do something other than crypto.
Yeah, like when he said crypto, yeah. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah, it makes me think something different. Yeah.
No, you didn't say. He just said he gonna make. You got a Superman movie coming out and Supergirl coming out in 2 years, so he gonna make crypto. No, I'm playing no dog. What is it? It's not wrong playing as a dog, but I'm just like, I don't want to play as the super dog. Hey, we got Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, and now he talking about crypto to get. But I'm not gonna complain about it because I think if they like it, I love it. but yeah. So okay. Well, I think personally that if they're going to make the whole connected universe, and if the concept of them having video games tell these stories that take place within the films. If that's what they're gonna do, I think that's sweet. Within the did I just lose you? I think so.
Oh no, I'm here.
Oh no, okay, cool. Oh, somebody else is calling. Cool. But I think within that, I want to ask you this question. So if they're making video games that take place in between the films, do you think it's possible that they would do something like what I'm talking about in video game form, or would it be better? Would that be something suited for the cinematic side of things?
You mean crossover between the two brands?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Marvel and DC.
Man, I feel like something like that isn't that complicated in terms of creative space. It's a purely, corporate business type of thing where it's like just locked up a lot of people that got to work together to make it happen. I feel like you saying in games would it happen? I think it would be easier in games if anything.
Okay.
I mean, you have the Marvel versus Capcom type of thing, Marvel DC versus
Mortal Kombat.
What was that? Mortal Kombat. Yeah. I feel like something like that could work easier in games if anything. You don't have to deal with actors and contracts and blah blah blah.
Well, with what he's saying that at least with DC side, it would be the same actors. My assumption.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Because my thinking is, like this isn't the sole reason why I'm talking about this, but James Gunn being with Marvel, still having like a working relationship with Kevin Feige. I was about to say Kevin Hart. with Kevin Feige. uh, my mind, and with us seeing just the whole landscape, and the whole landscape, not even just films, but the honestly just the corporate landscape in general, technology in general, with kind of this consolidation of companies, certain companies being bought, certain companies shutting down, all of this. Like my mind goes to the space, and with Marvel and Sony working together, and Marvel getting all the rights to their even though I don't believe they have all of the rights, but they pretty much do all the rights to their characters back. Like my mind is going to the place of like that collaboration between the companies for the idea of making the money, because I think that would make them the money.
I didn't even think about it that way, but that's a good point about the consolidation stuff that's going on, all the acquisitions and things. That makes me see it a lot more.
Well, I mean, I'm just speculating. I'm just speculating. I'm just
Yeah.
throwing out. I have no knowledge. No, I'm just really assuming and just making up stuff based upon the patterns and things that I see and recognize. And I just want to just pick your brain at, pick the audience brain at it. Hey, but I appreciate you for calling in, Stuart, man. I really appreciate you, man, and always tuning in and rocking with me and being I think we still friends on Xbox. I ain't been on Xbox in a minute, but hey, I appreciate you, man, for rocking with me for all these years, all this time, man. I really appreciate it.
No problem, man. Have a nice night.
Hey, you do the same, brother. You do the same. Thank you so much.
All right, bye.
All right, bye bye. Wow, this is amazing, y'all. I really appreciate that. And then somebody else that called in while Stuart was there. I appreciate y'all for all watching and tuning in. I really don't. I don't see DC just treading the same territory like Marvel. I mean, they could. They could, but I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of potential there. There's a lot of potential. We're gonna take another call here. Okay, 760. You're on the line. Oop, I lost you. 760. I lost you right there. So you can call on back if you want to. But for me, I really feel as if the potential that DC has is great, and I feel like they could really take it to that next level by doing that crossover. Okay, 760, you are live on the Venom 2 Million show. What's going on?
Yep.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, I can hear you, man. What's going on? What do you think about the idea of the Marvel and DC connected cinematic multiverse? What do you think about that?
Well, for me, I am been a fan of you since the Amazing Spider-Man years, and
I appreciate it.
I personally, I'm a fan of Marvel and fan of DC for a longest time. I think really James Gunn's idea is 50-50, and for them to do the whole crossover between Marvel and DC is great, but the factor is everyone going to dive into it? Because what I see is unknown territory. We don't even know what this universe is going to be like. Plus, he's taking a Wonder Woman that's already established. Why are you keeping that? The only thing for us comic book fans would be absolutely out of the way, like, yes, give it to me. I will pay money. Give it to me. And it is comic books. That we've been thriving for a crossover, begging for a crossover with these two companies for decades now. And they haven't done one since, I believe, 2004, 2005. That was the Justice League and Avengers crossover.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been wanting to see something in the comics corner. But as for the movies and video games, I mean, honestly, the only way for it to be impossible is Discovery sells Warner Brothers, breaks it up tiny little pieces, and gives it off to different companies. Because Warner Brothers is in their last legs. And I feel that if they're going to do anything with a potential crossover, it's more likely for them, DC, to not do that well. Therefore, Warner Brothers just sells it. I mean,
you think they?
I mean,
Dang. You said it's likely. You think? Do you think James Gunn's? Do you have faith in his vision, in his written out plan that we have access to?
No. And I'll tell you why. He announced his movies way too quickly. I'm like, whoa, bro. And if there was a word, bro, hold your horses. There's no time for a race. You don't need to announce all these movies right out of the gate. I mean, focus during your Superman movie. And I'm looking at the Superman movie, and I'm thinking, Jesus, this movie's got two hands. One hand is a Superman movie. The other hand's a universe starting off. I mean, when I look at the foundation of all the movies, Matt Reeves, I trust more on Matt Reeves than I do with James Gunn. Because I feel like James Gunn is just putting everything in one basket and hope it sells. And I'm sorry, that doesn't do for business. You got to start small. What did Marvel did? They started off with Iron Man. What did Zack Snyder did? They started off with Superman. What did Matt Reeves did? They started off with Batman. They went basic. All they cared about was that one movie. Sure, they wanted to do something more than that, but they wanted it off to do that first movie. That first movie counts. And if that first movie fails, it's over. There's nowhere to get around it. And I see the worst case scenario for these. And it's like, I thought this was a reboot, and that's another thing, dude. You're keeping Wonder Woman, then what was the whole point of, we're going to get rid of X, Y, and Z, and we're not going to support Blue Beetle, but we're going to keep the same actor, and we're going to put him in our Superman movie. But that character in his whole movie this year doesn't really count. I mean, you make no sense. You're killing bridges every step of the way, and it's just like, it more hurts you down the line if you do such things like this. Now, I get it. You want to reboot it, fine. That's number one. But don't announce things, because that's setting your movie very smaller, because that doesn't make you important. Like, imagine all in phase one, Marvel Studios announces all their movies before Iron Man 1 comes out. I mean, seriously, that would be stupid. That would be suicide. Yeah, they wanted to do an Avengers movie, but they wanted to do it baby steps. They wanted to get done with Iron Man. Then they did Hulk. Then they did Iron Man 2 and Captain America and Thor. And then eventually they did Avengers. You start small, then you go with up. As someone says, Rome was not built in a day. You start small. You do baby steps. As for video games, I mean, I said this before. I think a lot of times in Marvel, usually the Spider-Man fans kind of killed any potential. Guardians of the Galaxy was fantastic, but, you know, that's
I haven't
not saying
played that
much.
yet. I haven't even played that game yet. It was good. You liked it?
You really should. You should also play. You should play Guardians and Midnight Suns. Both fantastic games. Really good. Gives you really much of the good old days of your Ultimate Alliance, your X-Men Legends type of deal. Really good. And if you ever played Mass Effect, it was a dream wish of seeing Guardians be in that mold. But
I haven't played Mass Effect either. I've heard a lot of amazing things about it. And with Guardians, actually, that's made by Eidos Montreal, who I love the Deus Ex franchise. So, you know.
Well, they're in the works of doing I'll say this. If you played the new Guardians game, well, I'll just say this. Those people are doing the new Mass Effect game. So,
Really?
Plus, if you want to play, yeah, they are. I'm all in on that shit. I love the crap out of that game, and no matter what. But you know, it never got the support because Avengers.
Hey, have you played that game?
Oh, I played that game thousands of times.
Do you like it?
I enjoyed it. I did. But I enjoyed it for what it was. But those developers really let me down on just lack of campaigns and just many levels. But as terms of video games, Marvel needs to have more of their heroes be successful in their video games. As for same thing with DC, for crying out loud, give us a Superman game. Give us a Superman game.
Man,
What
is up with that? Why do you think they haven't given us a Superman game, but they didn't even give us a Justice League game, but we got us a game killing them.
I think the reason why they haven't given him a Superman, I think the reason why Superman hasn't got a game in such a long time is because they're too afraid. They're too afraid to just pooping, what the fuck I'm saying? Literally, just they are so scared on failure. They don't know which engine to put him in. I always say the God of War engine because you look at Kratos, you really feel like a god in God of War or even Ragnarok. And it's like, I'm literally thinking, why don't you just throw that in there? It would make really cool. You can gear up your system. You can even have your custom costume if you want, or get your classic suit, whatever. And the one thing I really, really feel like we don't need to touch, and I know why they want to do it because of Spider-Man himself, it's because, people want to have another modern game of Batman. I meant to say Batman. And I feel like when it comes to video games, we're too reliant on yours truly, Batman. I mean, Granted, Gotham Knights was great. Hopefully Suicide Squad is successful, but we gotta break that mold of just Batman and Spider-Man games are only successful, because that's what really kills the gaming division on terms of Marvel and DC. But as for other things in terms of movies and everything else, it just doesn't look good. As for Marvel, I see Marvel rebooting their universe soon, the next couple of years. I mean,
really,
because at this point in their career, we're literally checking off the wish list. I mean, by the time Secret Wars happen, you will literally see everybody in one shape or form that's been in these Marvel movies for decades. You're literally going to see the entire Marvel movies actors in one movie or two, because that's never been done before. What's going to top Endgame? Put every actor that's been in a Marvel movie in one movie going forward, or two, because you're doing Secret Wars. You're going to do the multiverse. You're probably going to do Doctor Doom as the main villain, because they got to make that Fantastic Four movie be not only great, but also sets up for Doctor Doom for being the main villain for Secret Wars, but have that whole multiverse saga going forward. I mean, you don't have Spider-Verse mention the recent Spider-Man movie. I mean that was a shock for me.
Really?
I mean, I just, the way my Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2099, literally saying, "Don't get me started on that nerd and Doctor Strange," and I'm like, holy cow, he just literally just summed up the events of the recent Spider-Man movie. Holy cow. And it was just a greatness. But I mean, in terms of Marvel, I mean, we're in good hands. I can't see them really doing bad. Yeah, we might have mediocre shows, or that was a failure. But for me, Marvel's in good hands. DC's more on the trouble side because they never really got off the ground. We never really had a good start. We all plan ahead. I mean, we never focused on that one movie. Why is that is just beyond me. And it's just, I wish people could kind of see that. And it's like, I mean, look at James Gunn. He announces all these movies, and yet this Superman movie is dependent on these films existing. if that movie fails, it's lights out. I mean, Dwayne Johnson had all these movies going forward on his Black Adam film. That movie failed in so many levels. I mean, I'm kind of expecting the worst. And it's sad. It's sad, but it's true. I mean, like, when you look at DC, you look at the worst case scenario. And it's like, hey, there's no sunshines and rainbows with this stuff. And I always say with Matt Reeves started small. I mean, I guarantee you that Penguin show is going to be the best show that everyone's going to talk about. People are going to be talking about that for months. And it's like, yet where does James Gunn fit all this? And that universe, that one movie that's coming out 2025, better count. Because if it fails, if it doesn't do well in the box office, Discovery is not going to go play Mr. Nice Guy. I mean, and to me, I think they should have never gave him the keys to the kingdom. They should have just gave him the Superman job. You need to do that Superman movie before your universe goes off the ground. Because honestly, we don't know what the audience liked. Because honestly, I really wish we got another Man of Steel 2. I really feel a little salty because I'm like, you're keeping Wonder Woman, but you're not keeping Superman, but Henry Cavill? I mean, he's the guy that never got the good fair shot. And it's like, there's so many things. And I could go on and on. But I mean, it was great talking to you. I'm happy I got the chance to call you up.
Yeah, man, I really appreciate you, man. I love everything that you're saying. I want to ask you a question though. So, do you think that you said that they're going to do the Secret Wars? For you, do you think that it's is that interesting to the audience to see all of the actors, all of the Marvel actors together?
I'll just say this. Damn right, yes. Because I'll say this. If you have Captain America, Steve Rogers, with Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, that's done. I mean, you got the original OG Avengers. You got the new Avengers. You got some of the X-Men actors from the Fox universe. You got the 3 Spider-Mans. Maybe even possibility even more, because who knows, we might even pull the Spider-Verse characters into the Secret Wars. I'm actually crossing my fingers on that. Yeah. That's the one I really want the most, because I really love to see Haley Staple play both characters, because I really think it's a dream wish. She is amazing actress. She's really good. Been a long-time fan of hers, and I loved her in Kate Bishop. I loved her in Spider-Gwen. I really want to see a live-action version of her character as Spider-Gwen. But you
would want to see her as Spider-Gwen, not Emma Stone.
Oh, I mean, granted, either or, I wouldn't mind that. Emma Stone would have been fine. I mean, that it's just if they don't want to do it. And that's another thing too, where I'm like, if they're going to introduce Miles, well, why don't we just keep the same actor that we have with the Spider-Verse, just transfer him into the MCU? Mm-hmm. I mean, it works because that happened in the books, and it would be more sense to where if all realities are going to come into one, which that happened in the main Marvel comics. Do I still have you?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening to you.
Okay. Sorry, I thought I shut off my phone. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, like, if you have all this stuff going forward and you bring that actor in the Spider-Verse as Miles, I think that you could be really setting her up for more money, because we're seeing his story carry on. We don't need to redo Miles' story. We could just carry on with the Miles' story, but just in live action. Mm-hmm. You could retire Tom Holland, but because at that point, I think Tom Holland's story would be done. Because, I mean, as much as I really would love to see a Green Goblin storyline having where you see the rise and fall of Norman Osborn and the whole Dark Avengers stuff and all that stuff, I just think that's not going to happen. And they're going to do something else with the Hobgoblin storyline that they keep on teasing about. But,
what you mean, like with Ned? Hobgoblin with Ned?
Oh no.
No. Just what do you mean that they're teasing Hobgoblin?
They're teasing Hobgoblin because of like people are talking about like, oh, this sets up the Hobgoblin storyline after No Way Home because he's probably going to be turned into a villain because he lost a lot of weight. The actor lost a lot of weight, and he's been teasing of a Hobgoblin storyline in the recent Spider-Man movies. I don't know if that's fully going to go forward, but that would be one hell of a twist if that happened. And plus, I mean, he already said, I promise you all, I will not turn into a bad guy. Oh, gee, that sounds really irony.
Right? That's what what's his name? That's what Andrew Garfield was talking about. I'm not in the movie. I'm not the werewolf. I'm not the werewolf. You know how they be lying.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, for me, I think that there comes with a lot of things with this whole new direction with Marvel. And also another thing is I think Marvel should also do animation more because it brings more people to come in because that's the one thing Marvel hasn't done, and especially Marvel Studios, that's in particular. But as for gangbusters, like bringing people to go see them in the theaters, I think the reason why Marvel hasn't doing that well is because a lot of the new kids in the block ain't interesting. And if you do, it's only a few people. And some of the shows have been hit or miss on certain people. I love almost mostly of the shows, but, you know, for me, I think that when it comes to Marvel, Secret Wars and Kang Dynasty is going to be the money makers because it has to bring those movie characters that we've seen over the years in this one movie. You have to bring Hugh Jackman in the Avengers movie. You just got to. Along with the OG Avengers, oh my God, gangbusters.
That would be sweet.
I mean, you got to bring, and also another thing is another thing on Hugh Jackman. You got to bring Hugh Jackman interacting with the Sam Raimi Spider-Man. Oh, a lot of people would just go off because there was a point where, you know, why don't we do that?
Yeah. Because
Sony and Fox were about to, you know, tease a crossover. I mean, there's so much potential on Marvel than there is with DC. It's very sad. It's very sad because I'm like, holy cow. I mean, there's so much potential on Marvel than there is with DC. DC, I meant to say DC. DC had something. They had a palm of their own hands of something in between. You got Ben Affleck back. You got Henry Cavill back. Let's go forward. I mean, there really were something there. The problem is James Gunn wanted to do his own thing, and it's going to cost them. And when that happens, you know, the only thing for people like me, only interest is have Discovery sell, yours truly, DC, and pretty much, you know, the rest is history. Either Apple, which rumors that, or people are speculating, should I say.
Yeah, people speculating Apple going to buy everything.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think it's going to end up happening too. I mean, and you see entertainment evolve and a lot of things going forward, and it's just, you kind of see a lot of things coming into play. Now, I'm actually concerned on certain video games, let's say the Wonder Woman video game. I'm actually kind of thinking that video game's axed. I can't see how that thing is carry on.
I forgot all about that game. That's not going to be connected to the DCU, right?
What?
It's not going to be connected to the movies, right?
No, it ain't going to. It's going to be its own little thing, and it's like. But yet again, this is the thing too. James Gunn wants to do video games, animation, TV shows, and movies all connected, and I'm like, oh my, no, you don't need everything in one basket.
Yeah, we was just talking with I was just talking with the last caller about him mentioning if we have a Superman movie coming out this year, and in 2 years there's a Supergirl movie, perhaps in between that time, he suggested that could they make a crypto game? And for me, I hear something like that, and I go, that sounds terrible. Like a crypto game, like what? But maybe that could be cool.
I mean, it depends on the story. I always say it depends on the game and the story.
It does, because it could be sweet. They could do it sweet.
For example, just using this for example, the Midnight Suns game. It's a strategy card game. Yeah, it turned people off, but it's all about the story and gameplay. And if you do it well, I mean, hey, you're got good game. It's fun to play. I mean, you can create your own character. You get to interact with your favorite superheroes. I mean, it's just amazing. It's all about relying on story and gameplay. That's what matters the most. And if you like it, that's great. I always say that. Ignore the critics. Just what your opinion matters the most. That's right. The one thing.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I love a video game series called, or should I say, not a video game series. It's only one game. It's called Godfall. Really good game. Really good game.
I've heard about that. I don't know.
It's a live stream. It's a live stream video game series. Not video. I keep saying series. It's a video game that's a pretty much kind of like Destiny, but something a little different. Just not guns and knives, just swords and shields. That's pretty much it. And it has a good premise. It has a really good characters, really good stuff. I wish there was more, but it is what it is on that. But besides all that stuff, I enjoyed that game, and people crap that on that stuff. But for me, when it comes to with DC, it's just dark times. I just see nothing but dark times. The only thing that's going to be genuine quality greatness is the Matt Reeves Batman movies and show. Because I'm like, nothing tops that. You got that one director that understood Batman. First time we see Batman as a detective. I mean, we never saw that in the other films. Never. You never saw a true crime drama of him being a detective and having
you like the Batman. You like that movie?
I love it. I love that movie.
I haven't finished it.
I was 100% support on Robert Pattinson. I always was a fan of Robert Pattinson because I knew this guy's destined to great things, and boy, oh boy, he made me proud. I mean,
that's awesome. Hey, that's great. I mean, I still haven't finished the movie.
Once you get done with that movie, your mind blown would go off. Like, wow.
Okay, I'm gonna watch it. Like, the reason why I didn't finish the movie was because when I was watching it, it was a scene where he was spying on Catwoman, and then like I think her roommate, he was like watching from afar with his binoculars, and and her roommate went to change, and he was still watching, and I was like, now Batman.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me half the time. I mean, that doesn't surprise me. I was like,
now why they do Twilight, man? They had him. He's sitting there watching. His eyes got big when she started taking off her clothes. He was
to me, that makes sort of type of sense because I'm like, I always thought Batman and Catwoman were destined to be together. I mean, that's just how they are. I mean, they're the two people that really unique each other. Now, I'm hoping, this is the thing I'm going to say, that movie ends where I'm like, oh my God, I know one villain that would perfectly fit like a glove, and it would be amazing because there's this one villain that I'm like, it has to come here. It's the only thing that makes sense. And it's like, oh, I'm hoping it's the case, but, people want Clayface, people want all this other stuff, and I get it, but I want to see a new villain coming in, and it's just, yeah.
And so,
but I'll say this, I do agree with a lot of people on this. You know that scene where he glides down in the under the submarine, not submarine, the, I'm trying to think of the bridge, underneath the bridge, and he hits his head, and
I ain't see it. I ain't see that. I'm sorry.
I mean,
just because of me and your conversation, I'm going to watch the Batman tonight. Because I mean, when I first saw the trailer, I was immediately intrigued. I was like, oh yeah. When they announced Robert Pattinson, like I was on board too. I was right there with you. I was like, hey, like I saw the first Twilight in theaters, and I saw.
Yeah, I remember watching those movies too. I mean, he was. I mean, just tell you the truth, he was. No, I'll have to let you go. I mean, I have to let you go.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I appreciate you talking to me, man. I appreciate you calling in, man. I was gonna ask you about you said something, but I'll let you go, and I'll have the conversation. No, just
go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna ask you one more question. Okay, so you said earlier, with pertaining to Miles Morales, introduce the actor that played him in the animated movie, bring him forward as the live action. Would you rather have that than a new actor with Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, and then go through the story with Tobey Maguire?
I mean, it depends. It depends on Tobey Maguire going forward. I mean, like, with Tobey, what I want to see him is I really want to see Spider-Girl. I think it works for him on his universe, and the only way to do that is do Spider-Man 4, do the story of Renew Your Vows, have her where Mary Jane and Peter got married several years later, and after that, you go do the story where Peter gets his girl and have where they pop a baby out, and eventually, you do her story in a potential spinoff. That's where I feel his story goes. I don't think Miles works in his universe. I think that with that universe going forward on Tobey, I think Spider-Girl works because Sam Raimi was a major big fan of the Silver Age comics. You do her because her universe is very much inspired by those books. So I'm like, we don't do Miles. Miles, I think if anything, it would more fit for Andrew Garfield's universe and Tom Holland. But yet again, I'm like, no, I don't want to redo Miles. Just keep the Miles that we have and just transfer him to go in there. Because, I mean, we're going to do his whole origin again. And it's like, I don't want to sat through that. I don't. I mean, the reason why we did that before with Peter, it's like we saw that not too long ago.
Yeah.
We don't need to do that with Miles. Miles needs to just do his stories that he has in the Spider-Verse, just transfer that into the main core. You can even keep the Gwen Stacy love relationship go forward, and you could push it to the next level, and kids and young adults could watch that. It's all about the kids and young adults. That's the thing. That's how I look at Spider-Man. It's children and a young adult story.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I agree.
But anyway, it's good talking to you. I mean, who knows? I'll come back later on.
Yeah, for sure. Sometime. Hey, I appreciate you calling in, man. I really appreciate your input. Everything you said, I'm with it. I'm with it. I agree 100%. Thank you so much.
You too, man.
All right, man. Have a good one. Wow, hey, I'm with it. I think everything. I agree fully. Like the Emma Stone I show went so when he mentioned Haley Steinfeld, I believe that's her name. She's the voice of Spider-Gwen in the Across the Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse thing. And he said that he would like to see her in live action. I showed an image. There's an image of Emma Stone that she recently shared. I believe she shared it like here. I can let's instead of me making up a date, like I can see exactly when she shared it in this image or in the article. She shared this image. It says Uh, it don't have the date. Let me go to the Instagram account. Here we go. We're gonna go to the Insta. This is live, you know. This who is this? Is her. So I can't click on it like that. Dang! Come on, Mark. That's Zuckerberg, by the way. That's what I'm talking about. Come on. Come on. There you go. Okay. This was posted 3 days ago by not Emma Stone, but this is like her new look, I guess. And you know what people were saying. I brought it up in the conversation, you know, so you know what people were saying. They recently, it was news, I believe today, about the Spider-Woman movie. No, I'm sorry, Madam Web movie, and Spider-Woman is in it. Madam Web with Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney. That's her name. I was about to say Sweeney Todd. Like, that girl name is not no Sweeney Todd. That's funny. But yeah, so it's with them, and there was some news about I think she confirmed, Sydney Sweeney confirmed she's playing Spider-Woman. So the whole Spider-Verse thing, all that, it's interesting. The DC concept of all of the films that DC has in mind and in line, all of them, which is very interesting, starting with the Superman movie, written by James Gunn. It's going to follow Kal-El as he reconciles his extraterrestrial origins with his human family and upbringing. Sounds like a reboot of 2013's Man of Steel with one important proviso. Henry Cavill is not coming back as Superman. And they've already cast the Superman and Lois Lane, I believe. They said next is The Authority. The superhero ensemble dates to a 1999 comic book series published under DC's Wildstorm imprint. The Authority is a group of 7 heroes with very high concept superpowers. One, Jack Hawksmoor, it says psychically bonded to cities, drawing his strength from them. See, I don't know much about The Authority. This guy is psychically bonded to cities? What? What? John Cooper Hawksmoor. I've never heard of this guy. The King of Cities. He gains his powers from a symbiotic link with the city he's in. The bigger it is, the bigger his powers. He's been a member of the Authority and Stormwatch. Huh. Okay. That's cool. And the Authority is a team of superheroes with extreme methods formed out of the remnants of Stormwatch. They care little for politics and law, doing instead whatever it takes to get the job done. Oh, okay, that's interesting. So they're gonna be nuts. They're gonna be like the Watchmen is good, but are they? They're gonna be like that kind of. It seems like. Okay, that's cool. The Brave and the Bold is a Silver Age DC comic title that for about 15 years, 1967 to 1983, starred Batman and Robin in crossover stories with other DC characters. It was also the title of a 3-season Batman animated series airing on Cartoon Network from 2008 to 2011. DC Studios news release says the DCU will introduce its Batman and Robin in the unusual father-son story inspired by Grant Morrison's comic series. That series was inspired by the animated show. Oh wow! So the Grant Morrison's run was inspired by the show, and so the film is instead of it being Bruce having a random boy that he adopted as his blood son. That's better. And then next is Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. So okay, now the examples that James Gunn gave was Superman comes out this year, and in 2 years there would be a Supergirl movie. So in between there, can there be a Crypto movie? Like, is that actually what's about to happen? Somebody in the chat mentioned the game Stray. Let me pull it back up because somebody mentioned the game Stray in comparison to when I said so. I don't want to play no dog. Like, I'm trying to find your comment. I can't find the comment. Here we go. Stray was a Game of the Year contender. Here we go. I'll put your comment up. Game of the Year contender. So a crypto game could work. Okay. Maybe. I mean, I haven't played Stray. Stray just came out on Xbox too. Like, I think today. Interesting. Stray. I mean, I don't want to play that. Dog, give me Superman. Come on, man. He said we're not gonna have a movie tie-in. Hey, all right, man. Don't have a movie tie-in. That's sweet. Supergirl. You know, he said Supergirl. Okay. Okay, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. DC Studios says this picture, based on Tom King's award-winning comic stories, presents a Supergirl viewers are not used to seeing. Truthfully, they're not used to seeing Supergirl on the big screen at all. Her only theatrical appearance so far is in 1984 Supergirl starring Helen Slater as Kara Zara. Well, we've seen Supergirl appear in Flash recently, so that has happened. Then they said they're going to do Swamp Thing. First, it's gonna be a horror film. Oh no. He said, believe it or not, Swamp Thing, whose first appearance was in 1971's House of Secrets, 92, issue number 92, appeared in 2 movies back in the 1980s. The first one, 1982, Swamp Thing, directed by horror master Wes Craven. I know who the guy is. Pronunciation of the name, Craven, like the hunter. DC Studios lineup analysis says only that this movie will investigate the dark origins of Swamp Thing. So it's gonna be an origin story over the Swamp Thing. Okay, and then they're doing TV shows, Creature Commandos, and Gunn is writing this. He's already pegged at 7 episodes. Amanda Waller, she forms another super team out of monstrous prisoners. So it's not the Suicide Squad, but it's a similar concept. Creature Commandos are a fictional DC Comics team of military superhumans originally set in World War II. The original team was introduced in Weird War Tales. The team was composed of a human team leader, a werewolf, a vampire, a Frankenstein monster, and a Gorgon. A what? What is that? What is a Gorgon? A Gorgon is a creature in Greek mythology. Gorgons occur in the earliest examples of Greek literature. While descriptions of Gorgons vary, the term most commonly refers to 3 sisters who are described as having hair made of living venomous snakes and horrifying visages that turn those who behold them to stone. Traditionally, 2 of the Gorgons, that name and this name, Uriel, what is that? Ariel, I don't know what that is, were immortal, but their sister Medusa was not, and was slain by the demigod and hero Perseus. All right, that's cool. Creature Commandos. It's going to be a TV show for adults. Okay? Waller. If Creature Commandos was enough, the series dedicated to Amanda Waller stars Viola Davis in the lead role. She is coming back, and so is John Cena, right? DC Studios says the show will feature Team Peacemaker and is written by Watchmen's Crystal Henry and Supernatural's, okay? And then it's another show, Booster Gold. Now that Waller show, that could be sweet. Then it's another show, Booster Gold. DC Comics' longtime comic relief character is a time traveler who uses basic technology and consumer appliances from the future to make himself a hero in present day. Okay. And in Lanterns, The Green Lantern Corps have been the galaxy's foremost law enforcement agency since 1959, making Hal Jordan the Silver Age Green Lantern and John Stewart the first appearance in 1971 perfect for a buddy cop team-up. DC Studios says it will be an enormous TV event series focused on the two unraveling a dark mystery. That's going to be the connection of the Marvel characters. I'm just talking mess. Paradise Lost. It's set in Themyscira, so you know this show will touch Wonder Woman's history and character arc. It's not clear if she will star in it, though. This drama focuses on the genesis and political intrigue of an island of all women. DC Studios said, which sounds very Game of Thrones-y. Okay. So does that all sound interesting to y'all? Y'all like that? Y'all like that? It's got the Supermans, the authorities. You know what I'm saying? That all sound cool. Y'all like that? Maybe. Maybe. And it's Gods and Men? What's the name of the it's Gods and here, let me look that up too. What's the name of the what do you call it? He said is it in the thing? Gods and the People. Gods and the People. That's what. Hey, but does that sound interesting to y'all? I mean, it could be interesting. I'm more so. I feel like, yeah, that's sweet, and then they're gonna go down the route of for real, like for real, having the Marvel characters come in there. I feel that's what they're gonna do. I said, you heard it here first. That's what I feel. I feel like that's what's the dark mystery. I don't know. I just inserted that opinion there. But to me, that all seems interesting, cool. I think they're going to make it even more interesting though, because why not? That's kind of what I feel. That's kind of what I think. I'm gonna read the chat a little more. Then we gonna close out the show. I appreciate everybody for calling in too. Let me read the chat a little bit more. He said Andrew and Emma coming back to be the best thing about MCU Spider-Man. I liked everything about the new DCU except I don't know what they're keeping from the Snyderverse. Weird way to reboot. Interesting. Yeah, the reboot is interesting. I don't really have I don't have an opinion over Superman, over Henry Cavill, over Gal Gadot, or I don't really have an opinion over the actors. I'm more so just interested in the stories, really. And that's why the point of this video, I think the stories, they can really take it a very interesting, unexpected place. Especially if Marvel does their thing with all of their heroes together. Like, I think it's gonna be them all coming together. That's what I think. He says Supergirl has a lot of potential in portraying her grief. Clark is a first-gen immigrant, where Supergirl is like an asylum seeker who lost her family. Yeah, that's deep. They gonna show talk on all that. That's something. That's sweet. I think it could be sweet. But they don't need Marvel. Like, I'm not saying DC needs Marvel. I'm just saying where I think they're gonna go, like, for real. Like, probably after this phase. And it's interesting that the caller raised the idea of, like, they went through all this time, or in the very beginning was when they announced all of these films, and it's kind of the concept of, like, counting your eggs before they hatch. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think it could be cool. It's just, it has to be cool. It just got to be cool, Will it be cool? It should be. Hopefully. I don't know. But I hope that they do some cool stuff. And it's just an idea of something be cool. A Marvel and DC connected cinematic multiverse. And I think that'd be the next phase of the superhero films. That'd be sweet. The whole phase wrapped around what happened, how did these heroes all collide, and what's gonna happen afterward. Like, that'd be sweet. That's what I think. Hey, but I appreciate everybody for tuning in with me. I appreciate y'all for calling in. My callers, I appreciate it. we've been having a good time. We're gonna keep having a good time, y'all. But this is where I'm going to end the show because it's a little late, and I guess I'll go watch the Batman. I'll go watch the Batman, and hopefully it's good. But hey, I appreciate everybody for watching. I appreciate everybody for calling in. As always, I thank you for being my viewer, for hitting the like button, for subscribing. The thing, and all the social medias. And I just thank you. I really appreciate y'all, dog. I really appreciate y'all. But as always, thank you for watching. We're going to slide on out of here. We're going to shimmy on out of here. We're gonna do a little. Hey, thank y'all. Thank everybody. Peace. Have a good one. Peace.